Hi guys. So here are our problems for today. Okay. In the first problem, we are given two functions, f of x equals x squared and g of x equals 2x minus 1, and we are asked to find the following compositions. So the first one is f of g of 0, and remember that when you have this notation, we are always going to do the inside function first. So we are going to find g of 0. That means that I'm going to replace x in g of x with 0. And 2 times 0 is 0, minus 1 is negative 1. And then we are going to take this output, this negative 1, and plug it into the outside function, which was f of x. So we're going to do f of our output, which was negative 1. And since f of x is x squared, I'm going to replace x with negative 1. And negative 1 squared means negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1. Okay? We are going to follow the exact same step for problem B. Okay, so we are asked to find f of g of 1. We are going to do g of 1 first. So g of 1 is equal to 2 times 1 minus 1. 2 times 1 is 2, minus 1 is just 1. And then we are going to take this output and plug it into our f of x. So f of 1. So if I plug in 1 for f, that's going to be 1 squared, which equals just 1. Okay, problem C. We need to find f of g of 5. So again, we're going to find g of 5 first. So g of 5 means 2 times 5 minus 1. 2 times 5 is 10, minus 1 is 9. And then we are going to take this 9 and plug it into f of x. So f of 9. And since f of x is x squared, that means 9 squared, which is 81. Okay, and in the last one, we need to find f of g of negative 2. So once again, we're starting with the inside function first. So we're going to do g of negative 2, which using the formula for g is 2 times negative 2 minus 1. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Minus 1 is negative 5. And then we are going to take this output and plug in into our f of x. So f of negative 5. And since f of x is x squared, that means it's negative 5 squared, which is 25. Okay, so I think you guys see that this is not as complicated as it looks. Okay, now for the next 4 problems, we are actually going to find the algebraic expression for each composition. Because you see how we had to, in each of these, we had to find f of x, and then we had to take that f of x and plug it into g of x. That's kind of a lot of work. If we had just a simplified function, then we wouldn't have to do all these steps each time. So generally, what we like to do is create a compositional function as a single expression that we can just use then to find any output that we want. So again, to find f of g of x, okay, we are going to replace g of x with the expression for g of x. So I'm going to write f of 2x plus 3. And then we are going to take this and plug it into our f of x function. So in this case, it would be square root of 2x plus 3. Now there's no way to simplify it any further, so our final answer is just this. Okay, let's go to the next problem. Same situation, f of g of x. So remember, step 1, we're going to replace g of x with the actual expression. So g of x in this case is 2x. And then we are going to take this and plug in for x to the third. So x to the third, instead of x, we're going to write 2x. And then we simplify. So remember, properties of exponents. If there's an exponent outside parentheses, we apply that exponent to every factor in this product. So it's going to be 2 to the third times x to the third. And 2 to the third is 8. So it's going to be 8x to the third power. Okay. Okay, next problem. same situation, f of g of x. Okay, g of x was 7x minus 3, and then we are going to replace that, substitute this for x in f of x. So negative 7x minus 3. We're going to distribute this negative sign, and that basically means that everything inside parentheses is going to get the opposite sign. So positive 7x is going to become negative 7x, and negative 3 is going to become positive 3. Okay. And our last problem, again, same thing. We're going to do f of g of x. Okay, the g of x was 3x plus 1. And we are going to replace x in f of x with this 3x plus 1. So I'm going to write 3x plus 1 squared plus 1. Now here we do need to simplify, and since this is a polynomial or binomial that is squared, I'm going to do a little box method here on the side. So we have 3x plus 1 times 3x plus 1. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times 1 is 3x. 1 times 3x is 3x. 1 times 1 is 1. So this is actually equal to 9x squared. Then we're going to combine these two like terms. 3x plus 3x is 6x plus 1. And then we can't forget this one. That's another one. We have to put it in here. And then finally, to make it all nice, we're going to combine like terms because we have to combine these two ones together. So it's going to be 9x squared plus 6x plus 2. I hope this helps. Okay, and remember, we are going to have a team meeting tomorrow. So if you have any questions about this, we will be able to go over them. All right, bye for now.